Could Kevin Robinson's head get any bigger?
Here we go.
I'm going to reply to that, Mr. Stevenson.
Hey, everybody. It's 6:03. Did someone say something? We're good. Oh, there's Bo. Baby Bo is on the Zoom.
Yes.
I'm sure he's been on many Zooms in his young lifetime.
Yeah, he attends Kyle's daily with the PE class, so he knows all the kids in class, and he likes to see himself. Look, there you are.
Oh my gosh, he's so dear.
There you are. Look at all this.
Very, very cute. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for letting him be a part of this, Lo.
Yeah.
Well, hi everybody. Great to see you all. My gosh, I know if you're like all of us, we're excited for lacrosse season. And we're fingers crossed and we're saying our prayers and we're excited, but we're hopeful and we're optimistic. And I know we have alumni on the call and our wonderful alumni, incredible parents. So all of your support, we have felt it from afar, and I know all of your daughters feel it too from all the parents on a daily basis. So thanks for all of you to hopping on the call, and thank you to Kevin and Brooke for organizing this. We appreciate that. So thank you very much, and it's great to see everybody. So, first of all, I hope it goes without saying that you and your loved ones are well. It's been a crazy time. As you all know, for many months and going in a year, and I know that our women's lacrosse team was on the verge of something very special last year in the spring of 20. And when I met with the young ladies, with the young women and the coaches in the fall, I went down and was talking to all of our teams, and I said, and I know they're thinking, like, we got some unfinished business here. So they are coming in with such a great mindset, positive spirit, and we are just, again, so excited for the season. As you can imagine, there's also been lots of anxiety. If any of you have been following, and I know you all have, following intercollegiate athletics and how the past year has gone, it's been we were met with many challenges, and as was every school and every family, as you all know. So as we looked ahead to athletics, we planned all of last year. And our president Tim Trainer's done an amazing job to keep our university and stick to our plan and be successful, to have our students back at the Mount in a safe fashion. And we're obviously committed to all of that for our student athletes. After playing in the fall, all of our spring sports and also our fall sports into spring we're looking forward to a full spring semester. And as we were going through the schedules one day last week with my staff and we were looking at games every day of the week practically, and then at the end of basketball, and it was just absolutely crazy. But when we get there, we'll be thrilled to have that busy schedule, because our student athletes, they deserve it. They deserve. They've been so resilient, and as I meet with them, I tell them there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we remain optimistic. So, for those here, I guess I should have introduced myself. Lynne Robinson, Director of Athletics, for those of you who don't know who I am. And as I said, the world of athletics has been, like everything else, turned upside down. I can give you a small example from the Mount, and we've done a lot with, as you know, we've had the basketball seasons, the men's and women's teams, and we've had lots of starts and stops to the season. In some cases, they might have been positive cases on our team, or in most recently, positive cases on other teams. So an extreme example of this happened last week, Monday, a week ago. Our men's basketball team took the bus 8 hours to Bryant. When they got there, we had the phone call that Bryant had a positive on their men's basketball team. Could not play the games on that Tuesday and Wednesday. They packed up and drove the 8 hours back on the bus without playing the game. And this involves, 16 hours of bus travel. Their classes, of course, they could Zoom in from afar. And now we're talking, now we're in the process of rescheduling that game with the prospects of having to go back up to Bryant for games that were canceled through no fault of anybody, but certainly no fault of ours. So we're dealing with a lot of these things. And what we've learned, we've learned a lot. And one of them is that sometimes we have to pivot, not day by day. Sometimes it's hour by hour. And I assure you, we will continue to do that. As all of the spring sports and the fall sports playing in the spring came back in mid to late January, some prior to school starting, each of them had a game plan going forward. And we've worked closely, my staff and I, with each and every coach as we were looking forward to the season. The last intercollegiate athletic event that I saw last year was actually a men's lacrosse game in person. That is, it was a men's lacrosse game at Hopkins right before we closed down. So our goal for our spring sports has been, can we, after knowing what they lost last spring of 20, can we keep them as whole as possible? So we've worked with each coach. Each coach is working diligently and also the conference office, and the conference has been with any of our sports that are NEC sports, obviously work within the conference as far as scheduling and rescheduling, et cetera, et cetera. So as we go forward, we have a game scheduled for, of course, now we're dealing with weather, right? For this Saturday, Towson will be coming here, so we're just thrilled to start the season. I know a lot of you have asked about, and I've talked to some of you directly, and some via email, and some just through the coaches, saying when will fans be allowed to come? And as we look at the spectator policy, we look at the best practices from the conference, from the NCAA, from local, state, looking at all of those things. And the number one guiding principle will continue to be, how can we create the safest environment for our student athletes? How can we do that? And we feel that it's best, and there's no other teams in our conference who allow fans right now. I don't know if many schools in Maryland are allowing spectators right now. It's just because of the surge. And when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the surge was still very high. Those numbers I know are going down, and we look at it each and every day. So we are optimistic that we will be able to have limited spectators, and that would be our parents, of course, in the near future. For now, we felt it wisest to start without spectators to make sure that our operations are intact. We've done the basketball. We get it. There's no spectators at basketball. Now we're going outdoors. We have our game ops. We have officials. We have to schedule. We have to figure out all of our locker rooms. We have to do our best to make sure that our home team, us, and our visiting teams are coming to an environment that we understand how to best run the operations. As far as spectators, so we want to have a time when our parents can come, and we know that when parents come to games, you want to see your children. You want to see your daughter. Our men's teams want to see their sons, and if you read, and you've all read, you all see the numbers too, that the highest opportunities for transmission remain in social gatherings. So we can control everything at the stadium. You all know that. We can you wear masks, you separate, limited attendance, social distancing, etc. It's the other times, and this is what I tell to our student athletes too. It's the times away from the field that are probably the hardest times of all for them to be the most vigilant. And we feel the same as we feel that it's important not to have parents here yet, any spectators here, until the numbers continue to go down, and until we know that we can do this right, can do this safely. And the worst thing that any of us would want would be to inadvertently transmit the virus, because if it happens, if one person on the team gets it, the team is shut down for close to 2 weeks possibly. We've gone through this with basketball. So if there's anything we can do to mitigate that happening, especially early on, especially while the numbers are going down, let's let them go down. If there's anything we can do to mitigate that, we're going to do it. And there will be opportunities in March and April and May when we're in the tournament. And we're going to be loud, proud, and cheering. I'm going to be cheering right along with you. I'll be honest with you. I had the virus in the summer, and my greatest fear, and it was from a family connection that I inadvertently picked it up, and my greatest fear was transmitting it to my children, my parents, And I know that you all feel the same way. So if what we're doing is a little inconvenient, a little hard, because that's what we do as parents, we want to see our kids play. It's just for the short term. Fingers crossed, it's just for the short term, because it's when we can and we feel we can do it safely, we will welcome you all back with open arms. In the meantime, please go on NEC Front Row through the Mount Athletics website, and you will be able to watch and cheer along as we look forward, as we watch our wonderful team in action, and I can't wait for that. So feel free to ask me questions either on here or send me other emails separately. Send me emails, call me. You know, I'm happy to talk to you. This is just something that my staff and we've been talking to the coaches all along. They know the challenges we've had with basketball this year, and we're just trying to do the right thing for our student athletes and for our programs. So I appreciate your support on all of this. I know you want to see them play. My daughters played lacrosse in college too, and I still look back on it with such fondness. So please bear with us. I promise you, we'll continue to be reevaluated, and we're looking forward to welcoming y'all to the games. So enough for me right now, but I know that was a question on folks' minds. I do want to thank y'all for joining us, but I'm going to turn it over to head coach Lowe. Coach Lowe, Skellchock is on the call, along with assistant Sam Nolan, and Rachel Ortel is on the call as well. So I will pass the lacrosse ball right over to you, Lowe. So thanks, everybody. Take care. Oh, Lowe caught it. Good.
Yeah, I definitely caught it, Lynn. I definitely caught it. Good to see everyone. Thank you for joining us. I feel like I saw most of our parents, our returning parents, and I was growing a big belly the last time. Well, I guess you really didn't see me at my big stage, which is unfortunate for some of you because I was like starting to waddle around. But now I have an almost 8-month-old. It's crazy how that time flies. And hopefully by the time that you do see us, he'll be crawling around, outside the stadium. But I think just first and foremost, we are extremely lucky and blessed to be playing lacrosse right now. I think there are teams around the country that have not been as fortunate as we have been to be participating right now, full team. A lot of teams in our conference who haven't started practicing, who are still in small groups. One of my dear friends and teammates at Hopkins actually coaches at Bryant, and I spoke to her today, and they're just getting out of their small groups. And so they've been in their pods and they're not playing non-conference games, and they had a limited fall. And, looking back on it, were we limited? Absolutely, yes. But it certainly hasn't changed the way that we're preparing for the season and our season outlook. And while there will be changes, and as Lynn said, we're going to pivot through this thing. Here's my scouting report right here. We're presenting it. It's paid, we got a lot of pages. We're watching lots of film, and we're getting ready to prepare our team to win. And I think that's the greatest thing that we can give our girls. It's just the opportunity to play the sport they love. And if KB said it today, one of our seniors, she's like, I just love practice. And I'm like, that like gives me such joy hearing that from her. She's like, I can't wait for practice tomorrow. And I'm like, we just got done. Like, we literally aren't even off the field yet. And it's just like, she's just radiating what we're all feeling right now. And I hope that's what they feel. And we talk about this a lot as a staff, like clearly there's a part of us that's extremely type A, like obviously like in some aspect of our lives and our coaching lives. And we want everything on paper, and I want to see my calendar and everything is set in stone. Like, if I have a practice time, nobody better disrupt it. And if I have a game, I want to play that game on the weekend. Again, it's right now we are living day to day, game to game. And I just can't wait till tomorrow's practice, like KB said. And so, we obviously had a transition period and the resocialization, not only in the fall, but now coming back in the spring. The Mount did a tremendous job of testing us, getting us back on campus safely, taking care of not only our students, but especially our student athletes. And yes, while it feels so crazy day to day, just everything that gets thrown at you, it's so normal being at practice. And I can't tell you how excited I am to coach this group of young women. Do we have some injuries that we're working through? Absolutely. I can tell you they are some strong-willed young women that are rehabbing themselves back onto the field. I can tell you the group that is preparing for games is more determined than ever. I feel very fortunate that we have great leadership. We just named 5 incredible captains, and outside of, those 5 tremendous leaders, we have a group of leaders in our senior class, in our graduates and graduate students, and even in the younger classes. You'd walk into the locker room, and I think that one of the greatest accomplishments of our program is, yes, we have most certainly developed a winning culture, and I'm very proud of that. But the way that these young women carry themselves in the locker room, in the community, it's very impressive. And you wouldn't know who those seniors are from those freshmen, because they're just so well connected and they love each other. And that's what I'm most proud about. I'm most proud, again, and excited to coach this team this year. But they're working tremendously hard despite the circumstances, the limitations that they may have seen over the fall and, within the dorms. I feel for the freshman class. This is the craziest time coming off of the senior year into now, and in the dorms, and what does real college look like? They're probably like, this is what it looks like. No, it's not. And then Liz said, this is, as Lynn said, this is just a temporary time that we're getting through together. But at the end of the day, like I said, it most certainly hasn't changed the way that I view the culture of our program and our goals. And I said this through the recruiting process, hopefully to each and every one of my alums and our parents and my current players. Our goal is to develop our young women into driven, confident individuals with jobs at the end of their 4 years, to know that these 4 years are some of the greatest 4 years of their life, that they want to come back to the Mount, that they remember not only wins and losses, but their best friends throughout this. And then the big cherry on top, of course, is we're here to win championships. And that has always been my goal from the moment that I got at the Mount, was how can I put us in the best situation to win? And it certainly has been interesting this year with recruiting, but while it's certainly an integral part of my job, my main focus this year, without a doubt, is my team, is my players, the relationships that we continue to build with them, trying our best to get to know them off the field, even with the craziness of, keeping socially distant. I want them to know who I am as a person, not just as a lacrosse coach, as a mom, as a mentor, as a wife, all those things. It's extremely important to me that we continue to develop them as young women, but also, like I said, here's our scouting report, and we're back to business. We are back to getting ready for these upcoming competitions that we have are going to best prepare us for the NEC games that we have. And for anyone that's seeing our schedule, we obviously have 3 scheduled non-conference games and 12 scheduled conference competitions. In years previous, we clearly didn't play a schedule like this, but our conference thought, taking under consideration the parameters that we have with testing, we thought it was really important to prioritize our conference games. And so we will be playing some of our conference opponents twice on the schedule, and we couldn't be more excited to play those games and really just take onus of the NEC to win our conference and be playing in May. And that's the goal, is these 3 games that we play in February, that's a test for us to show us what the teams we will see in May are going to look like. I'm very confident in the schedule that we have. I'm thankful for the schedule that we have. And I really hope that in March, April, that we get to see all of your faces face to face. But at the end of the day, it's really business as usual for us. And we're trying to keep things as normal as we can. And we know that that's hard, but with games comes a positive morale. And we have one coming up on Saturday. And like I said, we're living game to game and we just can't wait. So if there's any questions or anything that I can address or talk about, I certainly would love to shed some light or let you guys know what we're doing in the locker rooms and on the field, preparing for games for the season. Like I said, just hoping to make it as normal as we can.
Thanks, Lo. And of course, anyone, if you want to put a question in the chat box or just somehow wave your hand or unmute or something, you're welcome to do it. As you can hear the passion in Lo's voice. And let me tell you something, your daughters, your young ladies are in great hands here, and Lo is just and her coaching staff, and they're just such wonderful leaders of this program. And yeah, they want to win on the field, and you see that toughness in your daughters, but it's more than that. It's about growing as young women, in every single way. I thanks, Lo, for that summary. I forgot to tell you all something. I got to tell you something that happened in the fall. And if there ever was, especially for a freshman in college, y'all remember when y'all were in college, if there ever was an abnormal semester in college, it was abnormal year. It's been this year. And when I would talk to the teams, and I would talk to them about, especially the freshmen, try to meet them. And because we couldn't even have our normal big student athlete gatherings, so I would go to each team and talk to them, try to meet them as much as I could. And tell them that, we know that this isn't normal, but just keep looking to the light at the end of the tunnel, follow the guidelines. I know it's hard. It's not a normal college life. And we'd have those conversations. And I would say to them, look, ladies, or if it was a group of young men, I tell them the same. I said, someday, might be 20 years from now, you're going to be telling your kids, I went to college during that coronavirus pandemic. And I said, and you're going to tell your kids that. And I have to think that the things that they've learned through this past year, whether it's resilience or courage or optimism or something that it's helped them forge forward. And I think that they'll look back, and this will somehow, we all have to find the silver lining, right? That it will somehow strengthen them and all of us. And I believe that to be true. But the little story I wanted to tell you, and it was probably, I don't know when it was, probably late October. And I walk out of my office, and it was probably like 6 o'clock. And there was, it was a freshman on the women's lacrosse team. And she was just kind of sitting out my office. I said, oh, is everything okay? I didn't know. I said, are you looking for someone? Is everything okay? She goes, oh, no. I'm just waiting we have a lift in a little while. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so, tell me, how is everything going? And the dear thing, she looked at me, she goes, everything is perfect. I kid you not. I wanted to cry. She said, everything is perfect. And in this most imperfect time, this most imperfect semester, this 18-year-old freshman, and she was, and it's a credit so much to the amount, but to Lo in the program, that they gave them that sense of, they were able to practice and able to be together and forge those friendships and play in the sport that they love. And I swear to God, I talked to it at a cabinet meeting that I had 2 days later. And I said, I will absolutely never forget it. And so you all should be very proud of your daughters, because they have shown, and as we all have had to do, but these young people, such resilience in a most unusual time for college students. So anyway, I just had to share that with you. And Lo, you talked about, you were mentioning what KB was saying, and that's what reminded me of it. So I will pass it on. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to chime in.
If you want to type anything in the chat, Kevin or Brooke, if there are any questions that needed to be answered or prompt, please let me know. And
Hey,
like I
Lo,
said,
this is Don. I got a question. The non-conference games, are they going to be streamed on the Mount website? I know the front row are, but are the others?
I don't know exactly how the non-conference games are going to get streamed, to be quite honest with you. Anyone from our admin might be able to tell us.
All of our home games will, all of our home non-conference,
Yes.
all of our, yeah. So
Right.
but you're right. I do not know about the away games. Who do we have after Towson, Lo?
Navy. I would assume Navy would definitely be streamed.
Okay.
So we can get all that information out to you for sure.
be
But
great.
all of our home games for certain.
That would be great.
And if they are streamed, it should be right on our athletics website that you should be able to go and link to be able to view it, even if it is away game done.
Okay, super. Thanks.
Lo, who's looking good in the conference? What do you think? What are we thinking here? What's the scout? I know we're not looking ahead, non-conference and everything. So, and by the way, Lo talked about the number of conference games. Some schools in our league were only, as Lo mentioned, Brian, can only play conference games. So we did add more to the schedule. LIU, Wagner, I think, and Brian, some of them they were not permitted to play out of conference. So we went ahead to give teams more of a fuller schedule, and they all count towards the playoffs, though, right, Lo? Even
Yes.
if you play someone twice, yeah.
Yes. So everything counts towards that, the standing, and obviously we hope to be hosting at the end of this regular season, these 12 games. We want to host again. We remember how that felt for our returners, like packing those stands, having all of our fans, especially with the men's program. It was the most incredible experience for us as coaches, but also for our Mount Lacrosse family across the board. But I would foresee our toughest competition in the conference being Wagner. I think that they have a lot of returners that came back just as we did. So we're going to play them twice, once obviously at home, once on the road. I think if you guys look at our schedule, our early part of our schedule in conference, if we can get through that, we're going to be just sailing through. I really confidently believe that. We have a little bit of a rough stretch there where we travel, and it's going to be a lot of on the go, but I think that our team can battle anything. So I'm ready for it. I'm excited, but you can bet yourselves that Mount St. Mary's will come out on top of this conference.
Lo, what were some of the biggest or what have been some of the biggest challenges that COVID's presented? That was one of the questions asked by one of our participants.
I'd say the biggest challenge is from the fall, especially. I feel a lot more better about it now that we are in full team, that we're in our locker rooms, that we're able to be together on the field more consistently throughout this preseason, and now getting into games, it feels more normal. But throughout the fall, it was really hard. Just continuing to build those connections with our players. I'm a very social butterfly, extremely hands-on. I'm typically on the field constantly doing individuals and having 5-minute check-in meetings that last 30-minute meetings. None of them are 5 minutes, but I think that that's what was hardest for me. It just felt more impersonal. And again, I'm totally someone who thinks that if those girls, they believe in me, and I obviously believe in them, it's going to translate onto the field. And so you just tried to build those connections as best as you could in the small time that you had in the larger group setting, and getting on the field, getting off the field. It was hard. It was really difficult for me. And I felt like it was a struggle because again, that those relationships are so valued, but I feel, like I said, we've been able to overcome that, especially when we got back on campus in January. So just that part of it, but we hope that things will be as normal as possible in these upcoming weeks. And I feel that now more than ever. And also, I think, like I said before, just adapting and knowing that things aren't going to be perfect within our schedule. And Lynn gave the scenario at Bryant. We have to be ready to face those challenges as well. And just making sure that we're making smart decisions off the field. And I trust our players, and I think that they value this opportunity now more than anything. And for our graduate seniors and those players who decided to return back, who came back to the Mount, Sarah Moeller, our transfer, Kate Kinsella, Caitlin Ryanauer, I think about them. I look at them every single day, and just the loyalty and the dedication that they show to our program. I want more than anything just to give them the best season that I can and that we can. So for those three individuals in particular, and I obviously look at our senior class, whom I just, again, I can't say enough great things about them. And they're such a strong class for us, a strong group of leaders. I just want this senior year to be the best one that they've had, you know, despite what's going on. So we're going to give them that opportunity. That's for sure.
Lo, we had a question from Mark M in the chat. If an away game allows fans, will the school be okay with parents going to the game?
Yes, absolutely. I think that it clearly is up to the institution to, you know, set their parameters on what they're allowing in their own facilities and in the stands. My request right now is that we maintain our distance, our social distance. We call it our bubble. You know, we have our lacrosse bubble, and we don't want anyone to interfere with this opportunity that we have, this gift that we have to play our games. So whatever we can do to play the games, and we want to see our fans in the stands, but also want to know that at the end of the game that we have to go back to what has become the new normal for us just for a little bit, and just maintaining that distance. But we certainly want to be able to have people cheering for us in person. That's important.
Another question, will injured players be allowed to travel with the team?
So we obviously have every intention to travel whomever, wherever, as often as we can. I think that right now we're taking it trip by trip, figuring out what's the best to keep the team ready to go, to keep them safe, to keep them comfortable. As you know, we take some pretty long bus rides, and we are in close quarters. And so we share rooms and we stay overnight. We're taking all of that into consideration. I've never in my time had a travel roster, but I think I would be naive to think that every single trip is going to be the same. So we are going to take it, like I said, a trip at a time. And we are foreseeing that we'll be able to travel everyone to Navy, which is wonderful. It's a shorter trip. And then for our first overnight and our first road trip that's a little bit longer, we'll see how things are with the current state of our team, and we'll pretty much go from there. But I hope that we can travel as many people as we can, you know, with also, again, I want to keep everyone safe and do what's best to make sure that we're ready to play. Thank you for that question.
Are there any other questions for Lo or for Lynn or any of the assistant coaches? Anybody want to give Sam or Rachel some airtime here? Well, great. Well, we appreciate everybody's time today. I want to thank Lynn for coming on and kind of giving us an overview of what's going on in Mount Athletics, and then of course Lo for giving us the overview of the season. And you know, again, you know, our hope is to see you guys at games this year and to have a great season on the field. We know how hard Lo and her staff and the women are working to hoist in that championship trophy in May and playing the NCAA. So they're putting the work in, and I know Lo and her staff will have them ready. So again, thank you guys so much for jumping on with us tonight and for showing the support of the program. It means a great deal. We appreciate everything that you guys do for the program as well. And it goes a long way. So thank you guys very much, and have a great evening.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Go Mount.
Yeah, thank you all. Hopefully we can see you soon. I miss you. I miss you all. I see some alums and some parents.
Can we
And
get another Bo appearance before you leave?
oh yeah, let me call
Oh,
up.
sorry
I did
about
ask
that.
if he was
All
going
right.
to make any sideline appearances this year, so just
Yeah, I'd have to strap him right here and just. He
Come
likes.
on, he can hold the gate play card,
He probably could. He'd drop it at. He's got a pretty good grip. Then he likes to shoo those things away. But yeah, that's true. He's getting ready. He's getting ready for bed right now. I'll see if we can get him down here. But you'll be able to hold him soon, Taylor.
can't wait.
That's right. But thank you guys so much. I'm really excited about this season, and tune into our games. That's all I'm going to say. I hope we can put on a good show for you. And
Thanks so much,
you all
everybody.
for
Take
everything,
care.
for what you do. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.